Hi.
Hello. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, of course.
Oh man, all right, that was a mission. All right. So, well, yeah, welcome to the first season of Resonate.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you, honestly. So I think with this, let's just go ahead and just start with introductions.
Sure.
And let's give us a little bit more, just besides the music, just
Yeah.
where you're from.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in the Philippines. And then I moved here to the States in 2015. And yeah, back home, I got into music during the 90s when grunge came.
Okay.
So in our school, everyone had bands. So I started learning instruments. First, I tried learning drums, but my parents wouldn't buy me drums. So I moved to the bass guitar.
So you were in a band?
I was in bands. Yeah.
In bands?
Yeah.
Oh, multiple bands?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's basically my start in music.
Okay, and then this is not like part of the school. This is just like a couple of friends get
Yeah,
together.
Yeah, like
And then,
yeah. So in our school, like it was a thing. Like if you're not in a band, you're watching your friends play.
okay.
So and then in our class, there were like 4 bands. Everyone was either singing, playing drums, or playing the guitar. No one was playing bass. So I was like, okay, I'll play bass.
Yeah, I'll give me one.
Turn this up.
We give this a second. You turn it off. Je te paraissais. Okay.
Okay, we should be good.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So I decided to play bass, and then immediately I had like 4 bands because no one else was playing bass at that time. I convinced my friend to buy a bass guitar for him, but then I was the one using it
Okay.
in our band. Yeah.
So it was mostly for you.
But he had access, he had the money, so I was like, buy your bass because he wanted to have a studio.
Oh,
So I was like, you should have your own bass guitar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so your main instrument was the bass guitar.
Yeah, I started, the bass. But I play a little like guitar. I still love playing percussions and drums.
Oh, okay.
But so every time, like, every rehearsal, every time like we take a break, like I go to the drum set and just play.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, how old were you when you started picking up instruments?
that was 12? No, 13, 14,
Okay.
9, in 89, 91, around.
And so, just to be clear, you weren't trained. It was all self-taught.
Yeah, it was all self-taught. I signed up for a class one summer, but we ended up, like, I would just ask the teacher to, like, explain bass tablature for me, or tablature in general. And that's what I did. So I don't know how to read. I mean, I can read sheet music, but I need to review every time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's most of like just doing exercises and reading tabs.
Okay. So that was 13. And then when did you move out here?
So I moved here. I was already 35. I burned out. So when I moved here, I didn't expect to go back to music.
Oh.
So I was like moving on, because I was I was in the entertainment business, and I was also in social justice. So I was trying to do both those when I moved here, my first year. But then my cousin invited me to Coachella.
Oh, okay.
2050, I saw Justice,
Oh, that's great.
and yeah, it
Oh,
it
that was
it,
amazing.
it literally pulled me back. Like Justice, What's So Not, and then Skrillex did the surprise set. I didn't know these people. My friends
Oh.
were just like, "Oh, you should watch this. You should watch this."
Never heard of them. Never.
I went there because Radiohead was playing. So that Radiohead I knew. There were some like reggae and indie artists that I knew. So I was watching them. But I remember like when we were back home, me and my ex, we saw a documentary about EDC.
Oh, okay.
And she was like, one day I wanna experience that. I was like, you'd never catch me, because
You were like, no,
I was like,
I'm not
no,
gonna
yeah,
do this.
that's like, to me, I was like, yeah, that's not a culture I wanna be part of.
Oh, so you weren't really into EDM music when
No.
you moved out here?
But I was into electronic music,
Oh, okay.
because in the Philippines it was mostly rock music and hip hop.
Okay.
So my entry point was beat production and sound design for films, because I was in the films already.
Oh,
And then at work, they had Fruity Loops in one of the computers. I discovered it and I was like, oh, this is less
Okay.
fun. And then, yeah, I started playing with that. And then I used Sony Acid. Do you remember Sony Acid?
no, I don't.
Yeah, Sony Acid. I spent a lot of time with Sony Acid.
Is that a DAW?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
it was a DAW.
Oh, okay.
And then I remember Ableton came out the very first time. These are all like pirated copies. We don't have.
Yeah, yeah.
So like I would buy this like DVD of like different DAWs every
Really?
summer, and I would just jump in and like, okay, this is this. So like I've experienced Cubase. I spent the most with before coming here. Like I spent the most using Propellerhead Reason.
Okay.
That was before they could record audio. It was all MIDI before.
Oh, interesting.
So I would record audio on Sony Vegas, and then export the from Reason to audio, and then mix in Sony Vegas.
So it was a whole process.
It was a new
Oh,
process, yeah.
So when you say you had the first version of Ableton, are we talking about the first?
Yeah, I don't think it's the first. It's the first that came to the Philippines.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
it was super early. There was nothing online that I could understand. I just knew that when I press tab, it switches to the live mode.
Live mode. Yeah.
And I could just like dump samples there.
yeah.
And then that was it. I was just having fun in my studio, just dumping different samples in the same key, and then
I mean, so when you started, like, I guess, this is the beginning of your journey into the whole production world.
yeah.
Were you going in with the intention of like, I want to make house music, I want to make
No.
this music, or you were just, I'm just having fun?
I was just having fun. I also had, so aside from the bands, I also had a spoken word project.
Okay.
And that's when I decided to study music production, because I started putting music into my spoken word performances.
Oh.
And then it became super close to rapping, but I wasn't rapping.
Yeah.
So I was like exposed to the world of hip hop in the Philippines, because that's how they associated me.
Okay. So
As
you
a
started
rapper.
developing your name as a rapper.
Yeah, but I was always say I'm not a rapper.
So it's kind of like a mistake that just kind
Yeah, because I don't act cool. I don't talk about whatever hip hop
yeah.
is talking about. I just it was more, actually it's a lot of like social issues that I talk about.
Yeah. So I've noticed, at least with the recent bootleg you made, the artist you chose to
Yeah.
kind of bootleg almost has a more lyrical,
Yeah.
rather than rapping and rhyming.
Yeah.
A lot of social issues, a lot of politics. So, at least during that time, what was the main focus of your, inspiration? What did you talk about?
I talked about, it's more of like more of trying to simplify human rights, like the idea of
I
human
see.
rights,
Yeah.
like the right to food, to shelter, like simplifying it, like because how I was approaching it, I was like, to me, or how people would hear me is they would say it's like nursery rhymes for adults that talk about social issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was also doing improv,
Like comedic
the
improv?
comedic improv.
Oh, okay.
So I was trying to combine everything there. So like we had this artist group, and like we would just go around do shows. So we would do sketches, and then each of us, like most of us were musicians too. So one had a band. So we would have like he would have intermissions where we would perform with our musical projects and then go back to the sketches.
Back to back.
Yeah, so it was like that was basically my training. Like all in one night, we were doing everything.
Wow. This was here in the States too, right? Or was this back when you were
But still back home, yeah.
Still back home.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's also why I burned out, because I was just like,
Yeah, it sounds like a lot, honestly.
it was
hearing all that. And,
Yeah.
But were you also just living like a normal 8 to 5, 9 to 5 job?
No.
Or this is your living
yeah, I never had a 9 to 5 job
to this day?
until I moved here.
Until you moved
Because
here,
I had
okay.
to, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because the plan was my parents wanted me to be an architect because my dad's an architect. So I always wanted to be an artist. I didn't know how. So college came midway through, because architecture there's 5 years. Midway, I said I want to transfer to graphic design because I discovered there's such a thing as graphic design.
Yeah.
And there's only one school in our city that offers it, and it's just like a class. It's not like a course too.
Okay.
So my parents were like, okay, finish this, and then once you're working, I'm in my dad's practice, I can study other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the year I graduated is the year they moved here. So so his practice was dissolved. So I was like, what was the point?
I was gonna say, I feel like you would feel a little bit salty about
Yeah,
all that.
but then it also motivated me because when we had that talk, so my thesis was a school for modern music and art. So that's when I started discovering modern music, electronica, graphic design, sound design, because I was researching because I wanted to build a school for that.
Okay.
So that was my thesis, and
Yeah.
which in a way worked well because when I was left on my own, like I already know what to look for.
Yeah. So, okay, yeah. So now we're getting to the point. You moved out here, you were burnt out.
Yeah.
No intention of getting back into it.
Yeah.
You go to Coachella, you see all these great artists.
Yes.
You get inspired.
Yeah.
And then you start producing again.
I started producing again. I opened my what's the door for Mac? No, not GarageBand.
I know which one you're talking
Yeah.
about. So I'm an Ableton guy.
Yeah, me too. Logic, yeah. So I reopened my Logic. I reopened I had this like one hard drive with all the samples that I've collected through the years.
Okay.
I just started messing with it and started actually like trying to understand like compression, like things like that. Like really trying to understand versus just like putting stuff together.
Yeah, see what happens. So, I mean, at least back then, I feel like, I'm sorry, what year would you say you started producing? Like 20, what?
22, 23?
22,
Yeah.
23. Okay, so you've only been producing for not that long.
No, I'm 45.
Really?
Yeah. So it's been 20.
Yeah. You're so much younger looking at it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm 45. So yeah, I've been 20 years messing with production and music.
Oh, wow. Okay. So at least when you were starting to produce, when was it that you started to like gear yourself towards electronic music, like, you know, house? I'm assuming what would you consider yourself, a house DJ or producer or?
Yeah, I mean, to simplify, I would say a house producer. Yeah. But I do experiment with, as we all do, like we all like mess with other genres.
Yeah.
But yeah, I decided to do house because when I experienced bass house, I associated it with new metal because of the it's very like riff heavy, bass heavy,
distortion heavy.
yeah, and then it's just repetition of the same riff over and over again.
yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's this genre I understand.
Yeah. It's familiar.
It's familiar,
calm,
yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, I want to do house.
Yeah.
But when I started doing production, I was actually like my early productions were more like instrumental, slower, like 90 BPM.
Okay.
Ve- I guess in terms of like the structure, it's very experimental.
And just to reiterate, no formal training. This is all self-taught we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until when I moved here, and then so after Coachella, I started looking for ways to learn.
Okay, and like a mentor.
Yeah, like a mentor or classes or whatever. So I saw on Meetup the Orange County Electronic Musicians group or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So I went, and that day, it was a Sunday. That day, Brian was there,
Oh,
and he talked about the Monday classes.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm here already. I have a cousin in Irvine. I was staying with her. So I was like, I'm here already. I'll go tomorrow and check it out.
Okay. Just to give the listeners,
Yeah.
so Brian is he'll be on the show later on. You'll get to hear his story, but long story short, Brian Chang, he's the founder of DMI, Dance Music Initiative, which gives a lot of people the opportunity to learn how to DJ, how to mix, and then also like they have a producing section. Or is that separate?
It's separate. Yeah.
Separate.
It's
Okay.
more of the DJing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's a course, you take it and then you work your way. Work way up to become
Yeah.
DJ.
And it's
So,
free. And you basically, whenever you come in, you just pick up where you left off.
Yeah. And like for me, like my first gig was because of the Dance Music Initiative.
Yeah, me too.
And yeah, a lot of people that I'll be bringing on the show, they'll be DMI graduates who will tell their stories pretty much the same way.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, go ahead. So you met Brian.
So Brian, yeah. So and then I started coming as many Mondays as I can. Like I would drive from San Diego, which is like a 60-mile drive
all the way to Irvine.
to Irvine on Mondays after work,
Yeah.
and then drive back.
How long did that take you to get out there?
No, it's maybe like an hour.
Okay, actually, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Actually,
And it's
yeah.
like it's at night, so
Yeah, when going home, it's pretty much open traffic.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's where I'm against traffic. And then so that was the DJing side, and then production side. I started trying to learn the business side of it. So in Coursera. Have you heard of Coursera?
I haven't. No.
So it's like an online. It's like free classes online. They offer like courses, like short courses.
yeah.
So I signed up for the Berkeley short courses. It's like a certificate course. So they have like music business, music production, songwriting, things like that. And then I just kept looking for like other ways to learn. And then I found this online community called Defyre.
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 Okay.
DEFYRE.
Okay.
So what it offered was it's a community of producers where they give you feedback. They basically every day there's a feedback, at least one feedback session. You submit your song, and then they tell you what you need to fix.
Really?
With depends on on the person. Some would go into detail. Some would just say change your kick.
Huh. So it depends who you get.
So it depends who you. So it's about like finding the right person to talk to, and then
Are we talking about like a group chat, or is it like say like Reddit where you post it?
it's so it's on Facebook. So they
Facebook,
would
okay.
there's a schedule like let's say Tuesday 3 to 5.
Yeah.
And then for a 2-hour session, there's like 20 slots, so everyone would just submit songs, and that's how I learned. the fire eventually closed, and then some of the teachers branched out, and then I moved to one of them. It's called Rising Icons, which is I'm still a part of. It's still it's basically what taught me really is the feedback, and then some of the one-on-one sessions.
Okay.
Because since I'm submitting at least 5 times a week, like some of the mentors already know what I'm struggling with. So the feedback they gave me is more focused on like, hey Miko, so the last 5 songs that you've been sending is like it's very muddy. So maybe you should work on this for now.
Okay.
And then next week, just send me the low end, and then we'll talk about that. So it's a slower pace, but it worked for everyone who was there because we were all like working, and then COVID hit, so we were like every day in there.
Oh, okay. So would you say like during COVID time it was actually beneficial to you because
To me,
you were just
yeah, I made it work.
grinding.
Yeah, I made it. I was like, because also I was approaching music this time like because I'm already like 40, so I was like, I've been telling myself that I know I'm supposed to be doing this,
Yeah.
but I've always been afraid to go 100%. So I was
I
like,
see.
here now, like after Coachella, I was like, okay, if I go, that's it. Like that's my last chance. So it has to work.
Yeah.
So I'm still in that mentality where like if something like if I'm not happy with something, like I would just think that okay, it's just an obstacle, but I still have to make this work. Like
Yeah. No, I get that. It's almost like you need it to survive now. So it
Yeah.
motivates you, lights a fire under your ass.
yeah,
You want to get going.
yeah. Also, like to me, I don't have any excuses now because like I'm not as busy as I was back then. Like I didn't have this many projects going on. So now I really have no excuse.
Yeah. So let's say comparing yourself from the COVID time to now, what do you say? Like just, what is it? 3 years, 4 years, I would
Yeah.
say? Night and day difference in your
Oh, yeah.
production? Yeah.
Like now, like finally I understand. Like I can now tell myself, okay, this is like the sidechain is like too tight. Like open this up. Like I don't need to change the compression.
Yeah.
I just need this like really tiny gap between the bass and the kick, and then maybe the kick will pop out. So like things like that.
So one thing that I talked to a lot of different producers, and a lot of them are more or less on my stage, maybe about 3 years in, 4 years in. And I'm trying to get to a point where, to let go. You
Yeah.
know, sometimes you get so caught up
Yeah.
in the producing and the technicalities, and you're like, next thing you know, a couple of weeks later, and you're still working on the same
Yeah,
cake.
yeah.
Yeah. So for you, have you gotten to a stage where you're like, you know what, I know what I need, I'll just change it, and I'm happy
Yeah.
with it. Yeah.
Like I feel like I would like I think we all we're like that stage is very familiar.
Yeah.
What I changed, it was like a conscious effort to say, okay, instead of like putting all my energy to fix this,
Yeah.
everything I learn, I'll make a new song and then apply all that.
Okay. So you just use it for later. It's like,
Yeah.
hey,
So like to me, I always tell myself the next song is gonna be better.
Gotcha. So the next song will be like, I'm gonna work on whatever
Yeah.
I've been struggling with.
Yeah, and not go back to this. Like,
Yeah.
like let's say I do this song, I send it for feedback, and they say something. I was like, okay, I'll apply that to the next song.
Okay. And then at least, how long would you say it takes you to finish one track? Obviously, it's kind of an open end.
Yeah, I mean let's define finish.
So,
You're happy with it?
like, besides the mixing and mastering, because I consider those two different
Yeah,
stages,
yeah.
I was saying like arrangement's done, automation's done. It's done. You just need to get mix and mastered. And,
Oh,
yeah. So, because I've heard artists say like I can get a track done in 4 hours to like a day or like
Yeah.
3.
pretty much.
Yeah.
yeah. Like idea down, songwriting down.
Yeah.
But cause for me, I kind of wanna hear results right away, so I mix along the way too.
Okay.
Like usually once I have my bass and my kick set, I'm to me like half of the work is done.
Okay. So you'll have your 8-bar loop set up, mixed already.
Yeah, like I start with the drop. Like I have a
Oh, you start with the drop.
yeah with the 32. Like once I have that solid idea, because
Yeah.
usually I have the 16 and I just dump every idea.
Yeah.
And then spread that out into to 32 section.
Yeah, yeah.
And then try to distribute them.
Yeah, because I guess the drop is the
Yeah,
highlight of
I
your
want to get
track.
there. Yeah. So so to me,
You build
I
around
work
it.
background. Yeah.
Yeah.
Built around it.
Yeah, you build around it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting concept actually, because everyone tends, at least everyone that I know tends to like, they make their 8 or 16 bars.
Yeah.
And then they'll build from the beginning to the drop, but
Yeah.
you kind of take it, you start from the middle.
Yeah.
Almost, and then build out.
I try that sometimes, but I always ask myself, but where is this going? I don't know.
That's a good point.
So I was like, I'll just go there, and then it's easier for me to go there and then go back and then lead everyone there.
Oh, that's a smart idea. Actually.
Yeah.
It's a different approach than everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, so you have the producing now. You've been doing it for several years. By this point, I'm assuming you've been DJing longer than you've been producing?
No, it's around. I mean,
Or-
yeah, it's around the same time.
Around the same time.
Because yeah, when I started focusing on DMI is when I started focusing on
Oh,
production.
producing. Oh,
yeah.
okay. So kind of just aligned.
Yeah, like the only reason why producing got ahead of DJing because of COVID, I couldn't.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Okay. And then was DMI, did they provide you your first gig? Was it with them?
Supposedly, but because I actually graduated a month before everything closed down,
Oh.
and then we were supposed to do a fundraiser for a burner, like that March, and that week everyone was like, so like Brian texted like, so me and whoever else was playing are backed off because of COVID. So, and he was like, if you want to go, you can still go. They're still doing the thing, but
Yeah.
we're not going. So I was like, I'm not going as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's when I first met you. I think I distinctly remember you were doing your vinyl test when I came over to DMI for the first time.
Oh,
Yeah. If anything, Brian told me like, oh yeah, watch him, which was you.
Yeah.
He's doing his test right now. Yeah.
yeah. I did so many tests. Like I actually passed my test. I was in his house because I was already doing a one-on-one session a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like I think I'm there. I just need to really like.
Yeah, no, I remember because I started doing one-on-one sessions with Brian as well. It was super useful.
Yeah.
Man, vinyls, they are unforgiving.
True.
But it does make you a much better DJ.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like honestly, if I didn't do those sessions, like when I go onto CDJs now,
Oh. Yeah.
night and day difference. you know?
Exactly.
It's like training without training wheels.
Yeah.
And when you go to CDJs, it's like having training.
Yes,
so you
exactly.
feel so much more relaxed,
Yeah.
grounded, So, you're based off in San Diego. How is the scene down there for you? Don't normally go down there nor hear about it, but how would you say it's been?
I feel it's definitely congested.
Okay.
I think it's because we have a lot of festivals. We have like Crossed and LUD, and then Insomniac started buying spots there. So we are like a lot of like DJs stop in our city. So there's also a lot of us DJs there. So I feel like it's really crowded.
Okay.
But also I think now we're all like reached a same level of maturity where we understand that we're all trying to do this at the same time. Because what Nova, like the promoter from Nova, he actually called a meeting, invited all the DJs that he knew, and then told them to invite other DJs.
Yeah.
So we had like a big meeting on the rooftop of Nova, and we just talked like where do you think we should go from here, things like that. So it was nice. You feel a community, but also you feel like you're on your own.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So it's still. Have you gotten to experience much of the community here in LA? Are you able to?
No.
I know. No, not really. Okay, but So are you managing yourself down there? You're looking for your own gigs?
Yeah, I did earlier this year. So there's this collective Angry Dog that I joined. They're kind of label and management, but what they're doing now is they sponsor artists.
I see.
So they offer like advice, they offer gigs. They don't really do managerial stuff for you, but if you want them to manage you, it's like they will charge a small fee for like each service. So now it's a service. It's not like a commitment.
Yeah.
So it's like I I pay them to shop for labels for me.
Okay.
But and then they offer me also gigs and not really offer, but they forward me gigs and I would just say, yeah, okay, I'll take this. And then,
So would you say it's worth the investment then? Or have you-
I think so, yeah. Because at least for me, because I'm not really, I used to not be really social, so that's one thing I learned here too. Like here, you really have to like network and put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never had to do that, so and I'm very like socially uncomfortable, so I really had to learn that, and then
You don't feel like, being a DJ and performing in front of people.
that's the thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
people have asked me that like, why am I more comfortable on stage than I'm like in a room?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer. Well, I'm a Leo, so I'm that helps.
Yeah.
But also I'm an introvert, so I always tell like I don't feel like I'm a Leo. I feel like I'm a Cancer. But then, give me a mic, I'll be a Leo. Because I'm literally more comfortable on stage in front of a camera versus networking.
One-on-one,
Yeah,
talking to someone. Yeah. No, I feel that. I think maybe also too is just like the amount of times you've put yourself out there. You're like, you kind of get lost in your own music. You're performing for someone else, but then you kind of get in this zone and they're like just building your energy.
Also, I think like I always joke that I like DJing because there's a literal separation between me and the other people, but we're enjoying the same music. Yeah, like I'm in my bubble, you're in your bubble, but we're listening to the same music.
Okay.
But then, but again, it's still the exchange of energy. It's still that still feels nice.
Yeah. Speaking about your performing and DJing, I listened to a couple of your tracks on Spotify just to kind of get a feel.
Nice.
You loved it. The Speakeasy one you came with. Honestly, the name really fits the track. I honestly feel like it's one of those like underground speakeasies. You can just go lounge and chill. So let's talk about that one for a little bit. Who was the artist you collaborated with?
So that was from Spectre. So that's another thing that that Angry Dog helped me with.
Okay.
So that was a release by Angry Dog. And then they were like, oh, who wants to make a remix of these two songs?
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to try. So it was a 2-song EP. So I made remixes for both songs.
Okay.
But then that's what I was thinking with my remix of Speakeasy. Like the original, like that horn section, it was used sparingly in that.
Okay.
It was more like acid.
Oh.
So it didn't feel like, to me, it didn't feel like Speakeasy.
Yeah.
Like if you take out the horns, it can be whatever it can be.
Yeah.
So I took the horns because I also love like horns.
Okay.
So I focused on the horns and then I just imagined like a smoky jazz lounge and
Yeah, no, that's it. When I was listening to it, I was like, man, I just need to dim the lights a little bit, have a nice whiskey, and it's like, oh, no, and I like that too. Is like when I do production, it's like the way I kind of get inspired is like I'm building. Because aside, remember how you said earlier, like when I asked you what your preferred genre is, it's kind of hard because you're trying to experiment. You said you did more with hip hop.
Yeah.
For me, I've always loved like movie scores. Like if you can, like music makes visual videos so much more impactful. So for me, anytime I do my production, it always has like a cinematic touch to it.
Yeah.
So I kind of always envision a movie scene.
Yeah.
So when I listened to yours, it's just that image popped up, and the fact that you're telling me this straight up is like, I love it.
Yeah, me too. Like that's how I approach music. Like this can be a soundtrack to this moment.
Exactly. You know, so I feel like the funny thing is a lot of techno producers that I meet, or EDM producers, or
Yeah.
house producers, doesn't matter. They always tell me a very similar story. It's like a movie in their head that
Yeah.
they're building towards, and then when they actually tell you, you know, now you see it.
Yeah.
Right? Like the track has a storyline. To
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
it's great to hear that like everyone kind of has almost a universal way
Yes.
of producing.
Yeah.
I mean, was movies like a big thing for you, or
Yeah. Because I was doing films too. Like I was.
oh, that's right.
Yeah, I was freelancing as an assistant director and post production supervisor. So I was switching between doing commercials for in the Philippines, doing commercials for BlackBerry, and then I would do a documentary about mental illness in a province where they think it's mental illness is an act of God.
Oh, interesting.
So I was literally like being torn between
Two different worlds.
the
almost.
capitalist
Yeah.
side and then this side.
The-
So I was like, I was seeing both sides.
Man, was that very like
I
Way-
definitely it definitely
Yeah.
contributed to why I burnt out because I was like,
Yeah.
I was just like being pulled into these sides, and then it felt like I was helping everyone except myself.
I see.
Yeah.
And then how old were you during this time? How young were you?
During
During this like doing this two different
it was the better part of my adult. So I started there, I guess 26 until I left.
Okay.
Yeah, so almost 10 years. Because I moved here, I was 35, 37.
So it was starting to weigh down your mental health.
Yeah.
It's really dragging you
Yeah.
down. I mean, and I think you mentioned like when you were doing a lot of more the lyrical stuff, you talk a lot about, the social,
Yeah.
struggles that a lot of people have with mental illness and mental health.
Yeah.
One of them that you did was that like one of your main focuses on when you wrote your lyrics and your spoken word.
Yeah. Not really, because I like mental health back then, like it wasn't part of the conversation, especially in the Philippines.
Is it a very taboo thing?
I don't feel like it's not even a taboo. It's just like we didn't consider it as a thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like it didn't.
It doesn't
like,
exist.
Yeah, it's either you're stressed or you're happy.
Oh, okay.
So more like it was more on like how people treated each other. Like in a mock, like I would mock how we would pick leaders. I would mock how like I would say like I'm enjoying the traffic in our city. Like it was very sarcastic. It was very
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. So moving out here, did it get better for you, or is it like
Yeah, like that's something I carry with me. Like everything here is definitely better.
Yeah.
Like but also like I can see why other people don't feel the same way.
Yeah.
But I think it's also like how you just approach like to me like moving here again, I was feeling like this is my last chance in everything, so I have to make all of this work.
So would you say, I wanted to kind of touch base on that, when you mentioned like some people might not see it that way, do you feel like those are the people who are born and raised here versus you who kind of more or less got to like come from a different world and you come to here and it's just that world of abundance, so much opportunity.
Yeah. Like it's do you know that it was a meme to like a joke like the first world problems?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I mean everyone would complain about traffic here.
Yeah.
And to me I was like, this is not traffic.
Yeah.
Like relax.
No, because more or less, so I'm Palestinian and I was born in San Francisco, but we lived in the Middle East for several years.
Okay.
So I got to experience what it's like to live in a third world country. And then like, I could kind of like empathize with you on that subject. Sometimes the stuff that I hear people talk about or complain about is like, oh, that's a first world problem.
Yeah, me too. Like I mean it's fun. Yeah, it's funny like when people ask I remember I was asked if I lived in a village.
Yeah.
And in my context, like we literally call our like residences villages.
Yeah.
So I was like, I do, but I don't think this is what you mean.
They probably think like when you say village huts
Yeah,
and the foreground, but like I'm Palestinian, my family, they're from a village.
Yeah.
But if you go there, it's not like, oh, like teepees. No, it's there, like we're in the 20th century. People build homes. The only reason they call them villages is because you can walk from one end to the other, like just super short amount of time. You
Yeah.
know? So I trust me, I completely know what you're talking about. That's why sometimes I just like laughing at it.
Yeah, I do feel like some people unconsciously take things for granted here.
Oh, definitely. Especially when I moved to LA, I've noticed it.
So like to me, like at the end of the day, like it's gonna be hard, but it's still a notch better than
Oh yeah. And that's the thing, that no matter like all the problems people talk about or complain about,
Yeah.
at least you have the comfort of knowing like it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, like like and it could be a lot worse. Yeah.
Like you mentioned the traffic, I'm pretty sure in the Philippines it's like
Oh yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's nuts. I used to bike to work because of that,
Yeah.
and then the number of times like I had to kick a car because it was like almost sideswiping me, or like just
It's
knock on windows.
out there. There's no rules whatsoever. And because I've been to Jordan, Palestine, and Egypt. If you drive in Egypt or Jordan, good luck, because it is like on death's door. The way they drive out there, especially at night. Oh God, I'd rather just walk.
Did you get a chance to drive there?
No,
No.
I will never drive out there. Trust me when I say they would run red lights. They would run red lights as if like there isn't even a light there.
Like my biggest, like we don't run red lights, but we counterflow. So if it's like a two lane
Yeah.
road, and then this is traffic, and then people counterflow, and then now this lane is just facing each other.
Really?
And then we're like, okay, I guess we're waiting now. So that's one of my. I had one spoken word piece about that.
Yeah. So, at least getting to grow up for a good amount of your life in the Philippines, obviously you grew up a lot with, your country's music, a lot of, do you ever bring that influence into your production?
Yeah, I mean that's the. I bring I feel I bring ideologies, not really like
Okay.
instruments, because like essentially Filipino music, it's like Spanish. It's romance.
I see.
Yeah, and it's very traditional.
Yeah.
But I do that. I feel like now what I'm trying to do is I'm collecting Tagalog language house music,
Okay.
which I already released one. I have two now that I want to be an EP.
Okay.
So I want to start, like, it just makes me happy to see people of different cultures dancing to a house track with a Tagalog
Yeah.
speaking person.
Yeah, especially because I feel like lately I've been noticing there's been a branch out in house music starting to like take influence from
Yeah, exactly.
a lot of different.
Yeah.
I'm seeing on my feed, there's now a lot of Arab house music.
Yeah.
That I've never even. I was like, whoa! They literally took like an old, track that I used to listen to, like my mom would play it on the TV. Now it's that house
So,
track.
yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah. Also, I think because like vocals are chopped, sounds are being used, like we mouth sounds now when we
yeah.
sing to like dubstep songs.
Yeah.
So now I feel like it doesn't really matter if you understand what's coming out,
Yeah.
because if it makes you feel good, it makes you feel good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So at least when you're making these Tagalog tracks, are you pulling them from existing tracks, or are you working with another artist?
Oh, it's just me, my voice.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you're actually being the
Yeah.
the vocalist
Yeah.
too. Wow.
Because that's what I use. Basically, I'm bringing my experience with spoken word here in a very like the songwriting there.
Yeah.
So I would just like write a line or two and then make it rhyme and then record it and then process it.
So it's all done out of your place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then how like the collaborations you've done, you know, you said one of them was just through more of a contest.
Yeah, so this one, the last one, it was through a contest, but it was also through the collective that I'm part of.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And sorry, who's the collective again?
Angry Dog
Angry
Collective.
Dog.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you do events with them. They
Yeah,
send you.
they send me to some shows. Sometimes I help them run their own because like we're everywhere. So I would just go to this bar where three of the other DJs are playing, and I'd just be there to
Yeah.
make sure everything runs smoothly. Then we just opened a Arizona branch.
Oh wow.
So now we're planning exchanges where
So do you think you'll start playing in Arizona?
that's the plan.
That's great, actually.
So they're setting up. So they already started 2 weeks ago. Some of them went to Arizona when they launched Angry Dog in Arizona in Bang Bang
Okay.
in Tempe. So is it Tempe? Tempe.
I think it's Tempe.
Tempe.
I'm not exactly sure.
I was sure that. So yeah, they did it there, and then so that's the plan. Because some of the Arizona artists have been coming to San Diego.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people outside of California have been wanting to come into like the Southern California just because the scene here is so much bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like because it is so much bigger, there's an oversaturation.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah,
It's not an assumption. It's a lot of us.
yeah.
it's really-
So it's like a catch-22, you know, because
Yeah.
all the opportunities here, but everybody's
Yeah.
here.
That's one thing I realized too. Like, so what I'm happy about Angry Dog is like, you have this like bucket list spots where you want to play. So I got to do those through them, and then I realized, oh, I don't want to play here. Like, I don't want to play clubs in downtown.
Yeah.
I don't want to play bars.
Yeah, so you had an interview posted on your Instagram. I forgot what it was like a news article interview.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I read it, and you mentioned how like clubs weren't your thing, so you wanted to kind of gear towards more,
Like a missionary bringing house
yeah,
to
to underprivileged people.
underprivileged, but also just people who don't like go to clubs, but they
Yeah.
enjoy house music.
Yeah, so like, what are some examples? Like, are you doing like community events?
Yeah, community events. I offer, like, I guess the very basic is, how some like night markets have like DJs.
Yes.
Like, I would do those, but what really is fun for me is going, like, I did this fundraiser for this non-profit. It's like an outdoor group for BIPOC.
Okay.
So, and I was talking to the executive director, and they were like, they love house, but they don't enjoy going to festivals and clubs,
Yeah.
and they've been wanting to experience a rave.
Oh, sorry. No, you can.
A rave. So I was like, okay, let's bring the rave to you, and then that's what we did for their fundraiser. So it was really fun because everyone was like they have no. Their concept of rave is what they see in media. But then we were like, we can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
So so basically we just dance.
Did they get? Was it the kind of like maybe just warm up a little bit to it, and then they're like,
Yeah.
and then okay.
So I
now-
started with like disco and like house edits of like really pop mainstream songs.
Yeah. So that's actually I'm glad you brought that up because like being a DJ, you need to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Being able to adapt to a crowd. So honestly, if I were in your situation, easy disco tracks or like remixes of like Madonna. It's like
Exactly. I definitely I have we all have like those playlists where it's just like for sure trying to get whenever I play a new venue, like I usually play at least I start with free edits of like just familiar songs.
yeah, just to kind of get people
And
attracted.
also, and just to gauge, like if this doesn't get them, good luck.
That's true.
But then if it's like when I get to that point too, I was like, okay, if they're not enjoying this set,
Yeah.
at least I want to enjoy this set.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, you can't make everyone.
Yeah,
happy,
exactly.
So might as well make yourself happy.
Yeah.
So at least because we are at the last 10 minutes, maybe we can talk more about what what you have 2025 looking towards? What do you have? What are you looking towards for then?
Yeah, definitely more releases. Like I've been experimenting on like faster house.
So what range do you play at? I guess now versus.
Well, when I started of 124,
Okay.
and then now I enjoy 130.
Oh, okay. That's actually pretty quick for house.
Yeah, so I actually like when I did the Sci-Fighter,
Yeah.
I played tech house and bass house in 140 to experiment on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So to me, it sounded funny because I know these songs were slower, but then I was like trying to understand it from a perspective of someone who doesn't know the songs, and it was
True.
working.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, this because like I heard like Justin J said like hard groove is basically super fast tech house.
Yeah, honestly, that's been a whole new, not new genre, but one that's definitely gotten popular.
Yeah.
lately. So I started to listen to it. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this is very like percussion heavy.
Yeah.
Very quick. You know.
But also like to me, it still sounds funny
yeah.
to me at least.
Yeah.
Like it's very close. It's like happy hardcore meets tech house.
Yeah.
So it's like in between.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, this is nice, but I feel like I'm still looking for that sticky bass elements.
I mean, because this is my whole conundrum with high BPM.
Yeah.
Especially because like techno right now, it's the whole 140
Yeah.
up. It's great. It's grimy. You know, it gets you going. Personally, me, like I would listen to it. I'd go to an event for it. But at the end of the day, I need something I can dance to.
Yeah.
And going at 140, 150, I can only handle maybe an hour or two before I'm like,
Yeah, true.
whereas, because the faster you go, I'm pretty sure you can, from a production standpoint, you don't have much swing groove.
Yeah.
Your bass lines are very simple. You know, not a lot of, you can't, because it's so squeezed in, you
Yeah.
can't do much. So for you playing that quick, did you feel like you yourself started to kind of be like, I'm kind of like losing the drive?
So I picked songs where was focused more on the top end. So it had like leads.
Okay. More melodic.
Yeah, more not really progressive, but
Yeah.
just like it has a hook.
Yeah, a catchy melody.
Yeah.
Or something.
So I get what you mean because like some of the songs that I'm excited to release, they're like really fast, but it's also like they're like 135 but Jersey. So
Okay.
there's like kicks in between.
Yeah.
And then basses are like just like extended notes,
Yeah.
but modulating. So that's where I'm trying to go there.
Okay. So you're slowly taking your productions into a more faster pace.
Faster pace, but I feel because so I started experimenting and playing. So I would do house, bass house, and then go to Jersey, and then just really like low key. Because you know how some Jersey songs are just like kick and bass.
Yeah.
So it's fast, but because it's minimal, it doesn't feel fast.
Yeah.
So that's the balance I'm looking for.
Okay. So are you still in that kind of experimentation phase, or are you still
I'm that
are you more or less going there?
more or less going there. That's remember when I asked you like about the DJ side of this. Like I was like because that's when I was starting to veer into it. Like I want to try this.
Okay. So how many releases are we talking about next year? Like, do you have a number, or like, are you just going to be continuing releasing as the year goes by?
Yeah, I mean I have a lot already. Like I'm just waiting for like labels to say yes. If not, it's gonna go. I have at least 5 for sure.
Okay. And then do you have any goals that you want to hit? Like, oh, I want to, play X amount of events, or is there like an event that you have lined up that you're, wanting to promote?
Oh, no, nothing. but
Yeah.
I still wanna get to know the culture. So I feel like I'm still new to it.
Okay.
So I feel now is a stage where I'm really experiencing other DJs, other local DJs.
I see.
So like I would say I'm taking a break from like bigger festivals.
Yeah. More or less on the same level as you, because it's kind of like you're both all working
Yeah.
towards the same
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah.
You know, so it makes it one. You'll start seeing the same faces again.
Yeah.
You start building your reputation in the scene. You never know. You never know where
Yeah.
you end up. Yeah. But at least for now, you're going to be focusing more on like San Diego, right?
Yes.
Building your reputation.
San Diego, SoCal. Like,
Yeah.
I wanna experience like OC. Also, I'm trying to get Ensenada and
Okay.
Tijuana.
Okay. Oh, Tijuana too.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting. Have you experienced the nightlife there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is, but it's very. I wanna see the underground
Yeah, I'm curious to know what the underground world is like for this.
because in Ensenada there's not much. I did my research. Ensenada there's not much, but they are starting to play more Latin house in like restaurants. I noticed.
Yeah.
So I've talked to some of the bars and they're kind of open to it. In TJ, I feel it's still more touristy. So, but I'm sure there are underground.
Yeah. Especially you don't want to go to you want to find those like hole in the wall events that not the tourist knows about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw like one time I saw we went into this bar and it had a patio. When I went to the patio, they were playing house.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh shit, there's house. And I stayed there. And then I was talking to the DJ and she was like, yeah, they normally don't play house here. So I just came in at the right time. She said.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Okay. So a lot of releases, and then more or less you're gonna kind of work on building your community.
community, yeah. Basically, yeah. It's more building community.
Yeah. And then at least maybe like I'm curious to know before we finish, the social media. How do you like for me it's something new that I'm trying to, because like doing all this and putting my face on the camera. Oh, it took a lot of courage just to put myself out there, dude.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Wait, what's your question? Like, how do I
like,
approach it?
Yeah, like obviously like we're in a day and age where like they say like you have to build your own deck.
Yeah.
So how have you been doing that? Like you just posting just your gigs and stuff? Are you planning to like start posting?
I've been on and off trying to be more consistent on it.
Yeah.
But I always go back to, because I remember when I that's why one of the reasons I picked the name Qolaj
Yeah.
is I want people to understand that I'm gonna be doing different stuff.
Oh, I see.
So like, don't be surprised if suddenly I'm writing films right now.
Okay.
I'm scoring for some films. I'm going back to improv. So
Are you excited for them?
yeah.
Yeah. I feel like improv would really just put you in a very vulnerable position in a way that like it'll build your confidence.
It does, yeah. Like I honestly encourage everyone to try it because I feel like going through that, it just helped me adapt
Yeah.
into
Like,
anything.
you can adjust on the go.
Yeah.
No matter how stressful it is.
Yeah. And I'm like, there's fear, but I know that I can manage it.
Okay. So you have a lot of things coming up for 2025 on top of the releases.
Yeah, plans.
And then the film scoring too, was that more or less someone came to you? Did you apply?
Yeah, so I also volunteer for this other nonprofit in San Diego Filipino Cinema.
Okay.
So we've been having film festivals every year. Mm-hmm. And then every year, like, I would just talk to these filmmakers and slowly, because we just had our 5th film festival. So now everyone that came during the first one are now working on their own films.
Yeah.
So now they're asking me for like music and stuff. So
You're very heavily involved in a lot of communities.
yeah, like I feel that.
That's great.
Yeah, I feel like the only way I can serve myself is if I put myself in the community.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, I mean, we're pretty much hitting our hour here. You know, you have your releases coming up next year, so we'll make sure that we promote those on the channel. Let's post all those community groups that you
Yeah,
support.
yeah, Angry
Please send them my
Dog,
way. We'll
yeah.
have them in the descriptions for people to check out and
Yes.
hopefully support. But no, thank you very much,
No,
Qolaj,
thank
for
you.
coming. You know, it was a great
Yes.
time.
Loved it.
Yeah. But no, awesome. All right, that's it, everyone. Thank you. Until next week. Peace.